My name's Alex, I'm product manager in tech, and this week we are at a product workshop. I get a lot of requests about doing days in my life, week in my life, like what do you actually do? So this is what I actually do in a week, a special week. So I wanted to take you all along because I would want to see this if I was in your shoes, figuring out if I want to become a product manager, or maybe I am a product manager and I just want to see how it works at other companies. Welcome to California. This is my hotel room. As you can see, it's got all the amenities. So what's on the docket for the next 3 days? What is a product workshop? Product workshop, in my case, is that we are going to talk about everything we did in 2023 and what we're planning to do in 2024. I present on Thursday. I am a little nervous, but I am also very confident because I worked really hard on the presentation that I'm going to be doing. So we'll talk about that later. So that's what we're going to be talking about this week. I'm really excited because, as you may or may not know, I recently was on this product called IBM Data Replication, and now I'm moving to this thing called IBM Data Stage. And so I am once again a green bean product manager on a new product. I was gonna film this intro yesterday, but I honestly did not have the wherewithal to do so. So here we are now in the morning before day one of the official workshop, and I'm excited to take you all along. Yesterday was just basically a travel day. I flew in from Boston to California, finally made it to the IBM office at like 2 p.m. So I'd been traveling for a ton of hours, met up with my coworkers. Then we went to an escape room, which was awesome because I've never been to an escape room. We had dinner and then I passed out because I was literally so dead. Anyways, it's time for day one. Let's go. Welcome back to day two of the product management workshop that I am attending. Editor Alex here. I didn't really do a good job explaining this part. So basically, each of the sit down clips you're about to see are me describing the previous day of the workshop. So I'm sitting down on the morning of day two and I'm going to tell you everything I did on day one. And then same thing for day two. I'm going to sit down on the morning of day three, describe the day before, and so on and so forth. All right, let's get back to the video. Well, I took personal notes and I took notes for you guys. Let's talk about it. Kick it off. We started with the big themes of 2024. What do we want to focus on this year? I can't give you the specifics, but this is like the idea of what big ideas do we want to keep revisiting this year? What big ideas are going to be our guiding lights? OpenAI, it might be how might we get AI into the hands of everyone. For like Figma, it might be how do we be the best design tool in the world? Those are the kinds of themes. These are really high level. And then we spent some time talking about our key customers and the issues that they're running into using our product suite. This might seem a little bit backwards for product management. You're supposed to talk to the customers to figure out the problems and then solve the biggest problems. So what I'm trying to say here is that every company is going to have a different approach on how they solve customer problems. In very traditional product management, you go out, you do a lot of customer interviews, you try to source problems that are across multiple customers. But in other places, you're going to have a different approach to how you solve these customer problems as it relates to your product. I think this is a big area where the discipline of product management differs from the actuality of how it works when you're a boots on the ground product manager. So I wanted to clarify that. This was a conversation around, are we solving their problems? Are there blockers? More specifically, what do they want? And if it seems feasible or not. All right, then we went to lunch and the freestyle machine appeared and it was amazing. I freaking love the free freestyle machine. Then we moved into a session after lunch on how we can better have customers report problems with our product. So once again, in the context of enterprise, we have like 3 to 4 different teams that different requests can go to, right? There's severity of support, but then there's also, hey, am I going to talk to the salesperson that I'm friends with, the customer success manager, or if I've maybe had problems in the past, am I going to go right to support or engineering? So we talked about the entire process of what that looks like, how we can improve our customer support. So I thought that was a really interesting discussion because we don't have just like one source for where all these answers go. Then we talked about how do we help our customers move from a legacy product to a cloud product. It's a really interesting problem to solve. People don't want to move. People want to stay with whatever product they're using. And this is not just specific to us. This is just a statement, right? People want to stay with the thing that they know. The new version, or whatever the next step is, that needs to be 10 times better for them to make that jump and go, okay, yes, I will try your new version of the product. So we just had a great conversation on how we can help our customers move and migrate, tactics on how we can approach that. Ooh, okay, the next one was really interesting. We had a conversation about how to deal with the design team's tech debt. What is tech debt? Tech debt describes what happens when development teams take actions to expedite the delivery of a piece of functionality or project, which later needs to be refactored or corrected. This was a really interesting discussion on, hey, we've brought up these design features that we want to implement. We've been cutting corners on some things that could have been built and designed better. So I thought this was a really interesting discussion that I never thought about. We usually talk about engineering tech debt, right? Having to go back and build something better because we built it just like really quickly. But this was for design. I had never heard of tech debt for design, but it makes total sense because they're operating in the same type of workflow as an engineer, taking tickets, making designs, iterating, and then, sending it over to the front end team to push onto the website. Really cool, really cool. And then we had a walkthrough of a new design that's being implemented for one of our products. It was really cool to see the design team taking like in-person feedback on their slides. Hey, I think the coloring of this looks weird. I don't understand how someone's gonna filter that. Really, really cool. I hope that I get to work with design more. The products that I used to work on didn't really have much of a design component, but where I'm going does. So I'm really optimistic. And that was day one. I will come back probably tomorrow morning and report back on everything I learned today. And then my presentation on product-led growth is tomorrow, and I'm actually really excited for it. I worked so hard on the slide. All right, and on to day two. It's Alex from the future. If you learned anything in this video or you want to keep learning about product management, hit the subscribe button down below. It helps me out a ton. All right, back to the workshop. Good morning, internet. It is day 3 of this product workshop that I am at this week. I am literally exhausted because we have been going from like 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then like team dinner, and I'm just tired. But it's the last day. I fly home tonight on a red eye, so this is it. This is it. And also, it's my presentation day. What I want to cover is everything we did yesterday. As I mentioned yesterday when I recorded my segment, once again, I took notes and we're going to talk about everything we talked about yesterday. First, we started off with talking about generative AI and how our competitors are using it and how we might incorporate it into our products. It was a really good discussion. The product managers behind it brought a wireframe mid-fi concept within our product of their suggestions on how we can use generative AI. I thought they did a really good job. We all have used ChatGPT by this point, but how can it get not ChatGPT itself, but how can AI get integrated into B2B products, enterprise products? They got support to move forward with one of their key priorities. So cool for them. And it was just a really cool conversation. Okay, and then we spent the rest of the morning talking about different connections to our product. In the data world, the more things you can connect to and send data to, the more powerful you can be. So that was kind of that discussion. And then we had a bit of a break where I worked on my presentation, which was today. So I worked on my presentation. I got some advice from our marketing team on where certain things are coming from. So I talked to the marketing team. Then we did this giant team lunch in one of the rooms where they got us all lunch, which was really nice. And then at the end of the lunch, I found out that the team that I used to work with, who I've never met in person, let me just clarify, was sitting in the back of the room. And I was like, oh my gosh, guys, hello, data replication world, like, let's chat. What's going on? It was just so cool to meet these people that I had basically worked with for like 2 years in person. I was just really thrilled. So I'm actually going to be meeting with them later today, which I'm looking forward to just like chit chat, see what's going on. And then after lunch, we had this really great marketing session on basically how can we improve our messaging for our products make sure that we're differentiated in the market from our website to our email to our sales enablement messaging. My favorite part about this workshop was that first we did this game where it was, did our company say this or did a competitor say this about data integration products? I was really bad at the game, but I thought it was really interesting that, quite honestly, a lot of us say very similar things. So that was kind of the framing of this entire discussion is, okay, clearly we see that the entire market, they're all saying the same buzzword. What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? How can we differentiate ourselves from the key competitors that we face? So we have that idea of what we want to be. How do we frame that for the different types of personas we work with? And then how do we turn those persona statements or like information into value propositions? And I just love this session. First of all, we got to get up and like walk around the room and like do the sticky note kind of design thinking aspect, which I loved. But we came up with some like really good value props by the end of the day. And I was like, this was just like such a good session. And then next we went into a session run by one of our sales leaders where basically he just told us, hey, this is what worked last year and this is what didn't work. It was really great to be able to ask him specifics, right? Like, hey, why do you think that this sales motion didn't work? Why do you think that customers don't like this thing about our product? So I really enjoyed that conversation as well. It's just been really great to hear from so many different people. The in-person aspect really helps a lot because then I can just be like, I have a question. And then finally, we ended out the day with my coworkers were running a meeting with a company that we work with to help us bring a feature to our product. That was basically it for the actual day. After work, a bunch of us went and ordered like food to our hotel and then played board games, which was literally so fun. I mean, I am in my own little silo in the office that I work in because I'm based in Boston. All the other people around my age and around my skill level mainly live in New York. So it was really fun to finally have some time to just not be in a work situation and just learn about these people outside of the company that I work at, outside of data integration. And that's basically all of yesterday. I am packing up my room right now because I fly out on a red eye tonight, so I need to be out of here in 10 minutes. So I'll get on that in a second. But today, as I mentioned, is my presentation day. If I didn't mention it already, I am working on what's called product-led growth for the product that I'm on. And this is basically the idea of, hey, how do we get more people to see our website, sign up for our trial, and then ultimately put in their credit card? I am doing an audit or an as-is of what the status is of our digital funnel. Are people visiting our website? Are they converting into leads? I can't tell you because that is proprietary information. I really need to pack up. I have 9 minutes before I need to meet my coworkers, so I will chat with you later. Let's go day 3. Nonetheless, day 3 did happen, and let's talk about it. Most of the third day of this workshop was focused on working with a company that was recently acquired by my company and figuring out how their product, their code base, can integrate with our product and code base, kind of just like feed information between the two. So that was most of the morning. During that time, I also had a chance to finally meet some of the engineers that I had worked with on data replication in person, which was literally so amazing. It was just great to, one, I feel like this is just a theme of the entire week, meet people who I've interacted with online in person, because you get a better sense of their personality, what they like to talk about, what they focus on in work, what's important to them. I went with one of my coworkers to go meet with them for like an hour in the cafeteria, and it was awesome. We just talked about basically how things are going, what they're working on, kind of providing a report from the product management side as to what's been going on our team. That was just a really great conversation. And they started telling me about some of the things that their team is working on that I want to go and learn about. After that meeting with the engineers on data replication, I also had a chance to finally meet my first IBM manager in person. He's also based in California. It was really great to finally get to talk to him. It was a good opportunity to just catch up, kind of see what he's been working on, update him on how my job has changed since he left our team. And then also, I got to ask him just kind of some career advice questions. I didn't realize how valuable it would be to have someone who's at this higher up level, who no longer manages me, but yet is an advocate for me, who is able to give me like very specific, concrete career advice. Basically, he was helping me figure out what my career narrative is. I have a lot of different experiences, but there's not yet a unifying thread, or I couldn't really figure out what the unifying thread was of everything that I've done, from working in startups to going to business school to being at IBM for the past 2 years. So he provided some great advice, basically breaking up being a product manager in 3 big categories. There's the first, the technical stack. So this is like working with engineers, making sure you're understanding their architecture diagrams, making sure you're understanding the deep technical aspects of the product that you work on. The next being the interface, right? So whether it's a website, an app, whatever that user experience or GUI is that someone is interacting with your product. And the third being the more marketing, external facing, like how do you get people to sign up for your product? So basically, I have a lot of technical experience I've gained since I started working at IBM. Now I'm working in this more of a product-led growth, marketing-esque product role. So I have kind of experiences on both sides of the spectrum, but what's missing right now is that middle piece. So his advice was basically, hey, you have experience here in this technical realm, you are getting experience in this marketing world, you need a way to tie those two together. And his recommendation was to look into the basically kind of design of products. How do you turn that code base into something that can ultimately be sellable? I just thought that was really good advice that I just am taking to heart and trying to figure out how to actually implement it in my day-to-day moving forward. And then it was finally time for my presentation. So let's go backstory. For the past 2 months, I have been working on understanding what's called the digital funnel of product management. So basically, how do people find our product? How do they learn about it? How do they sign up for a trial? And how do they purchase our product? So over the past 2 months, I have basically done a ton of research and trying to figure out what does our funnel currently look like and where are their problems. So to do this, I talked to product managers and sales and engineering and marketing and digital strategy to kind of just get an understanding of what they think our digital funnel looks like, what parts each one of those like groups excels in or focuses on. And then I pulled together data from a variety of tools. Basically, at my company, there are multiple places you need to go to be able to get data, ultimately to make a cohesive pitch. So I had to go to a marketing tool. I had to go to our Salesforce. I had to go to our Amplitude board. I had to go to all these different places to basically pull all that information to make a cohesive argument. So basically, that's what I did. I presented on our website metrics, how many people are signing up to our trials, how far they're getting into our trials, how much money we're making, and then I provided some recommendations. Unfortunately, because this is a public-facing video, I cannot tell you what my recommendations were. Basically, I identified a few key problems that fit into the categories of product-led growth, and then provided some suggestions and opportunities on how we can fix them. And overall, maybe you saw this on my Instagram stories or somewhere else, but the first time I did this presentation, I just didn't do a good job. I know I didn't. But this time I had practiced. I had put like my heart and soul into this presentation, doing all the critical thinking that needed to go into making a cohesive argument so that people would buy into my pitch on the things that we need to fix and how to fix them. Once that was over, I treated myself to the bajillionth Coke Freestyle soda of the week. And also I saw this rainbow. And then we finished out the week, one of my coworkers presenting about some trends in the market and how we should maybe address them in the future or just be aware of as product managers. And then finally, we just did a wrap-up session of the entire week where the person leading the workshop basically just recapped all the things we talked about and all of the key outcomes or decisions that were made from the week. And that was basically it. So what did I learn? First, I was just so glad to have this opportunity to be in person with my coworkers and then also be in person with other teams that I haven't had much FaceTime with. So I got to meet some awesome designers who are clearly super passionate about the product suite that we work on. And I was able to go to them and say like, hey, like, I think we should do this. And they're like, we're already thinking about it. And just having that in-person interaction to kind of bounce ideas off of was so valuable. On top of that, just meeting people in person, you get so much more of their personality than through a WebEx or a Zoom or online. It was just really great to see how funny my coworkers are, how thoughtful they can be, or their insights on different parts of the company culture, but also how our product suite works and interacts with other products. This was also just a great opportunity for me to learn more about this new product that I work on. I used to be on another team called Data Replication. I switched a couple months ago. So I'm a little product management green bean in this new world of data integration. So this was also just a great opportunity to hear what we're working on, why our strategy is built in a certain way. And then it got the gears turning of that my presentation fits into those higher level strategy pillars that the managers are presenting at the start of the week. And then finally, the most interesting observation that came out of this was that multiple times people were allowed to challenge each other with ideas. Maybe there's a different way that we should solve that problem. Maybe that's not as big of a market influence as we think. It was just so interesting to see such a high level of respect for everybody in the room to be able to discuss different ideas, even if the opinions differed. I thought it was just really, really cool to watch and see how everyone is working together because we all have this shared goal of having the best data integration product on the market. And that was my week at a product management workshop. Thank you for coming on this journey with me. I hope you found it helpful. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below and hit the like or subscribe button. It helps me out a ton. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.